Welcome back, lads and lassies, to Littles by Lira. Today we're going to make a fall festival sign. To start, you're going to need some popsicle sticks. I got both of these bags from the Dollar Tree. We have the big ones and the little ones. Technically, you really don't need the little ones, but we'll get to that later. To start, I'm just going to chop off the rounded ends of the popsicle sticks so that I can begin making the signs. Once all three of those are cut off, I am going to take my miter shears and I'm going to use the angle finder and cut a 45-degree angle on the top of each on both sides, turning them into an arrow. I did this by sight. However, I would recommend taking a roller, finding the midpoint, and then cutting 45-degree angles to that, and then you'll get the actual perfect arrow shape. But, it's up to you. Once I got the first one done, since I was just eyeballing it, I used it to I used the first pointy one to trace out arrows on the other two. Now, to be completely rustic and make it handmade looking, which the fall festival signs usually are, you can just eyeball it. I took crimson, pumpkin, and maize chalk paint by Waverly, which you can find at Walmart for now. Apparently, they're not going to carry it anymore. That's what I keep hearing, but my store keeps stocking it, so I'm going to keep living it up while I can. I'm just going to go and give each of these signs a nice coat front and back. I'm not worried about full coverage because I'm going to sand these down to make them look aged when all is said and done. I took the bottom off a fourth popsicle stick and cut it off. That's going to be the base for our sign. Next, in the wedding and party supply section at the Dollar Tree, you can find 2 packs of the little tin buckets. They're white. I am going to take some ink-colored Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to go around the bottom, the top, and the handle of the bucket to give it a chipped porcelain look. I happen to have been blessed by my grandmother with a porcelain teapot or coffee kettle, the old-fashioned ones that you'd put on the stove to boil your coffee in the morning, and it has some aging done on it, so I'm just using that as a guide to, show where my little specks should be, where the porcelain would chip off and leave the metal showing below. Here is where you see that after I cut the bottom off of that little popsicle stick to be the base for the sign, I put it into the bucket. I should have done this ahead of time, but wasn't thinking, and realized, wow, this is way too short for what I want it to be. So I grabbed a large popsicle stick and repeated the process, cutting the bottom off so I could insert it, and gave it a nice coat of Waverly Antique Wax. I laid it down on its side, and lo and behold, hey, it's gonna fit. Now, I have popsicle sticks, the little ones, and I really want to use them because for whatever reason, before I started playing around with the YouTube channel, I was like, oh, I need all the little baby popsicle sticks. And I had so many projects and now I got nothing. So I want to use them up. So I'm taking another one, cutting the bottom off, and then cutting a point into it. And I'm going to use malachite, also a Waverly chalk paint, and give this sign a coat of green. However, I'm going to mix it with a little bit of truffle, also Waverly chalk paint, to deepen the color up so it's not quite as stunning green. It's more mellow, earthy, if you will. Here you just see I took maybe 3 to 1, 3 drops of malachite to 1 drop of truffle, mixed it up, got the color that I like, and just go ahead and paint that little popsicle stick. When all is said and done, everything is dry and ready to go, I am going to hand letter the words pumpkin on the orange stick. I'm going to hand letter apples on the red stick, and I'm going to hand letter hayrides on the yellow stick. Finally, corn maze on the green stick. And let me just tell you, I really wanted to spell it M-A-I-Z-E because, maize, corn, haha. But I decided that's probably not a good idea because then somebody might see it and think, wow, this YouTuber's an idiot. I don't want to watch them. They can't even spell maize properly. So I just did it the boring way. Okay, so taking a very thin paintbrush, I am going to do my best to paint the words over the pencil lettering. I'm not good at this, but I am trying to learn. And I realized if I have any little mess ups, hey, those little tiny dots are great for covering them up. Country Charm by Tracy's channel. Tracy does her lettering similar, and I think it's just so sweet and so country, and so I'm kind of using her as an inspiration point for the lettering on these signs. When they're all done and dry, I am going to line them up, points down, and try and get them to be approximately the same length. Obviously, hayrides and pumpkins is longer than corn, maize, and apples. Well, corn maze because it's on a smaller stick, but you get the point. I'm going to try and line them up and trim those sticks down, just using my Home Depot Mitre shears, which, as always mentioned, are amazing and I love them, and you should totally get yourself a pair, if anything, just to impress people, to tell them, hey, I got Mitre shears. I bet you don't have Mitre shears. If you hear any sniffling, I do apologize. It is, as always, allergy season, and I'm out of allergy medicine, so again, sorry for sniffles. Here you see I'm taking a Dollar Tree sand block, and I am sanding over the corners of each of the signs and across the front. Then I take a damp baby wipe and just wipe off the excess paint dust. Taking that large popsicle stick that I made after I realized that the small one was too short, and I'm figuring out my placement for each of the event signs. About here is where I started to realize, oh my goodness, I have 3 signs pointing towards the left and only my pumpkin sign points towards the right. This cannot be. I can't have everything lined up pointing in one direction and then one off on its own. That's just craziness. Because sometimes I get ahead of myself and don't think all the way through, as before mentioned with the short popsicle stick. So I get that little popsicle stick down, and I've got the glue. I make my realization, and I pull it up. Luckily, I was a little heavy-handed with the wood glue, so I pulled that up and just used that as the glue spot to glue on for my hayride sign. Working from the bottom to the top, I've got hayrides, apples, pumpkins, and corn maze. And I have hayrides and apples slightly askew because I think that looks really cute. I don't know, guys. I'm cliche in my crafting sometimes. I think it's adorable when, you know, one or two of the little signs is slightly off. For the signs that I wasn't quite sure if they were going to stick very well, I just did my best to get some clamps to hold them into place and to put them off to the side to dry. Next, I grabbed that little white bucket and I'm just going to stuff some floral foam in there. I didn't really want to cut it down anymore, but I had that piece left from the foam pumpkin from Monday's video left. So I'm just going to break that down and stick it in and fill in any loose spaces. I don't bother to hot glue it in. This is temporary. Autumn doesn't last forever, unfortunately. And so just stuffing it all in there, mashing it down seems to work fairly well. I've got this luau skirt, also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just untie one of the loops from it. Because this is a tier tray item, it's, you know, super tiny, so I don't need a huge amount of the luau skirt, which is now going to represent hay. Anyway, so I take some of this luau skirt, and obviously it's like 36 inches long, so I cut it down into I want to say approximately maybe 2.5 inch strips and cut the whole thing. Next, I'm going to take these little mini mums from the Dollar Tree. I think these are so cute. I'm using them all over my house to decorate this year in the bright orange and this reddish color. I think they complement the colors of the sign. I've kind of vacillated between the reddish orange and the bright yellow and just go with the solid white mums. But hey man, it's fall. Let's be as colorful as possible. You know, it's like the third quarter of the year rainbow. It's just pretty. It's God saying, hey, take a look, stop, slow down, enjoy your world. Okay, so I've got the little picks I'm sticking in there, and I took 2 of each. I'm going to take the clamps off of my sign, and I'm going to just mash that base stick down into the flower pot, like so. Then I'm going to squish in some of that luau skirt hay and just fill it in wherever I can see floral foam or styrofoam, and we're going to call it good. I think this is so cute, guys. What do you think? It'll look great on, you know, a tiered tray. It'll look fun in front of a dollhouse. It's just pretty and simple and easy and cheap and sweet, and I love it. So that does it for me. I hope you enjoyed today's mini fall festival sign. I hope you come back soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Bye.